bullfrogs. This is Miss Betterton, and it's Tuesday. And I have been getting emails from your parents and hearing how awesome y'all are doing at reading along with me. Some of you are listening to it before you go to bed and falling asleep when you're listening. Some of you have been reading along with your own books. And some of you have even commented on the comments below, right down here, and kind of told me what you thought or what you were excited about or what you wondered. So if you have any questions or you have anything you want to share, like something that you think is about to happen, make sure and comment below and let me know that you're reading. I'd love to see how many of you are actually doing this with me. I'm really surprised and excited. And I love the parents' enthusiasm about having y'all reading. So that's awesome. You're going to be even better third graders for that. All right, well, yesterday we ended with chapter 6. And we're going to start chapter 7. It's called Ski-Dat-Dee-Dat. And so I'm going to try to read that the way I'm supposed to, but you never know. All right, here we go. Dipper closed the door. It was pitch black inside the shop. As the wind howled outside, the broken shutters banged against the brick walls. A gust of damp air blew through the room. "It's dark in here," said Annie, "and cold." "It's creepy," said Jack. "Yup," said Dipper. "Let's leave. I've changed my mind about staying here. We can find some other place to get out of the storm." "Good idea," said Annie. "Great idea," said Jack. Jack heard Dipper rattle the door handle. "Uh-oh," said Dipper. "Uh-oh what?" said Jack. "Won't open," said Dipper. "It's stuck." Jack felt the hair rise on the back of his neck. The shutters banged in the wind. "Hold on a second. I've got some matches in my pocket," said Dipper. "I just hope they didn't get wet in the rain." Jack heard Dipper trying to strike a match. He tried 1, 2, 3 times. Then he held up a small flame. "Yay," breathed Annie. Jack looked around the room. In the dancing light, he could make out wooden buckets on the floor, a couple of broken chairs, a doorway leading to a back room, and squeak! A bat flapped above their heads. "Ah!" Jack and Annie and Dipper ducked. The match went out. Dipper quickly lit another match. He held it up high, trying to light the room. Jack didn't see the bat, but he saw a bricked over fireplace, some rusty lanterns, and lots of spider webs. All the things that they're scared of happening right now. I don't know if you can see that picture. "Yikes," said Annie. The match went out. "Help," said Annie in a small voice. "More light, please." "Nobody panic," said Dipper. "I got 2 matches left." "Just 2?" said Annie. "Hey, I thought I saw some lanterns," said Jack, "near the fireplace. Maybe we could light them." "Good idea," said Dipper. "Maybe there's oil still in them. I just hope I can light the wicks, or we'll be left in the dark with the bats." "And spiders," said Annie. "And ghosts," Jack thought. Dipper struck his next to last match. He held it up to find the lanterns. "Over here," said Jack, pointing. "I see," said Dipper, but as he knelt on the floor, the match went out. "I got just 1 more," he whispered, "so we better be real careful." Dipper lit his last match. Jack slowly lifted the glass on both the lanterns. Very carefully, Dipper touched the match flame to the wick of the first lantern. The wick sputtered and flickered to life. A yellow glow filled the room. "Ah," said Dipper. He lit the second lantern. "Beautiful, you can each carry 1. Jack picked up one of the lanterns. Annie put down her trumpet and picked up the other one. The firelight cast eerie shadows on the walls. "Scream!" A sound from the back room startled them. It sounded like the creak of a door opening. Jack's heart began to pound. the sound of a door slamming shut. Jack's heart beat faster and faster. "Hey," called Dipper, "who's back there?" No one answered. Clump, clump, clump. The sounds of footsteps on stairs. Jack held his breath. "Who's there?" yelled Dipper. "Who?" "Show yourself," yelled Dipper. The shutters outside banged harder against the wall. "Woo!" "Mercy," whispered Dipper. Jack's hand trembled, shaking the lantern and making the shadows in the room dance even more wildly. The moaning came again. "Woo! Annie," said Jack. "The trumpet! The time is right!" "I know it, I feel it," said Annie. She put down her lantern and grabbed the trumpet. "Sing, Jack!" Annie lifted the magic trumpet to her lips and blew. A pure, smooth sound flowed from the trumpet and filled the room. As Annie played, Jack started singing. "Ghost, ghost, leave us alone. Stop, stop, stop your moaning." What a stupid song, Jack thought, but they were the only words that came to his mind. Then he remembered Dipper's advice. When you can't think of words, just sing sounds. Make 'em up. Put your heart into it. So Jack started singing nonsense sounds. He sang with all his heart, pouring all his feelings into the sounds, telling the ghost to go. "Skidat, dee-dat, skidat, dee-dow, skittle, skittle, daddle, daddle, out of here now." Thumping noises came from the other room, as if heavy things were falling. "Who's there?" shouted Dipper. Annie stopped playing. Jack stepped back in fear, waiting for something awful to happen. Then he heard laughing and whispering. "Hey!" shouted Dipper. He picked up Annie's lantern and headed into the other room. Jack and Annie followed. Little Mac, Happy, and Big Nose Sydney were crawling toward the back door. "Stop!" yelled Dipper. "What are y'all doing here?" The three boys all talked at once. We fell out of the attic. Felt like something was pushing us out. Yeah, then down the stairs and toward the door." "Jack's song pushed you downstairs," said Annie, laughing. "He ordered the ghost to leave us alone. His singing was magic." "Your playing was magic too," Dipper said to Annie. "You two really put your hearts into it." "Thanks," said Jack. Dipper looked down at little Mac. "Now tell us what you three fools were up to," he said. "We decided to play a joke on y'all," said little Mac. "So we snuck through the back door and up to the attic. We thought you left because you were scared of ghosts," said Annie. "Heck no, man," said little Mac. "We're not afraid of ghosts," said Happy. "Not even a little bit," said Big Nose Sydney. Suddenly a cold wind blasted through the room. The lanterns flickered out. An eerie green light lit the blacksmith shop. "What?" a voice roared. "Not afraid of ghosts?" The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Ah!" the kids all screamed together. "Ha, ha, ha!" Mean-sounding laughter echoed through the shop. It grew louder and louder. "Ha, ha, ha! Ah!" the kids all screamed again. Stomping noises thundered in the attic overhead. Everyone shrieked and froze with terror. Down from the attic came a pirate. His face was hidden by the brim of a black hat. He wore a gray jacket with a double row of buttons, a red sash, and dark pants tucked inside black boots. The pirate looked like a real person, except you could see right through him. Look at that picture. Can you see it? He's a funny looking dude. Chapter 8, Heebie-Jeebies. I love that word. Heebie-Jeebies. Thunder shook the night. The wind howled. The pirate ghost floated down the stairs. "The ghost of Jean Lafitte," whispered Annie. The ghost pointed a bony finger at Happy. "Not afraid of ghost?" His voice boomed again. He pointed at Big Nose Sydney. "Not even a little bit? Ha, ha, ha! Ah!" that?" everyone shrieked again. They all scrambled out of the back room to the front room. They pushed on the front door together, but the door still wouldn't open. "Scurvy dogs, you cannot escape me," the ghost of Jean Lafitte shouted. The pirate ghost floated to the center of the room and stopped. He rested his hands on his hips, threw back his head, and laughed again. "You're trapped now," Jean Lafitte roared. "Trapped here forever." To Jack's horror, more ghost pirates began gliding through the walls into the room. One at a time they came. A pirate with a gold earring, another with a pistol, one with a headscarf, another with an eye patch, one with a saber, another with a bushy beard, one with a thin mustache, another with a sack, one with a striped shirt, another with a peg leg. Finally, 10 ghost pirates circled the room. From the center of the circle, Jean Lafitte let out another peal of mean laughter. "Ha, ha, ha!" The pirate crew snorted, snarled, and growled. "Yar! Arg! Arg!" Suddenly, Jack started singing, "Skittle diddle dog! Hey, hey, hey! Ghosts go away, go away, go away!" "Jack," said Annie, "what are you doing?" "Play, Annie, play," squeaked Jack. "I can't," said Annie. "We used up the magic. It's just an ordinary trumpet now." "Here, give it to me," said Dipper. Annie handed Dipper the trumpet. Dipper put the trumpet to his lips. He closed his eyes. He took a deep breath, and then he blew. The air vibrated with a single warm note. Then Dipper's fingers danced over the trumpet's valves. A lively, swinging tune filled the blacksmith's shop. Jean Lafitte stopped laughing his mean laugh. He held up his hands for his crew to be silent. As Dipper played, crooked smiles crossed the pirates' faces. Dipper's joyful music drowned out the noise of the storm outside. Annie snatched 2 rungs from a broken chair. She used them as drumsticks, tapping them against a wooden bucket. Jack grabbed 2 more rungs and did the same. Dipper paused long enough to yell to his trio, "Hey, boys, sing the heebie-jeebie song." "We don't know it," said little Mac. "Make something up," called Dipper. As Dipper played the trumpet, little Mac sang, "I got the heebies, you got the jeebies." Then Happy sang, "The heebies make you hop and the jeebies make you quake." Then Big Nose Sydney sang, "Do a little dance, mama, stomp and shake." As the trio sang, the ghost of Jean Lafitte started to dance. He shook his head and clapped his hands. He waved his arms through the air. He turned in a circle. "Go, mama, go!" he shouted. Lafitte's crew began dancing like their captain. All the ghost pirates moved in a circle, shaking their heads and waving their hands. Some floated off the floor, turning this way and that. Little Mac sang, "Hey, Papa, hey, Mama, hey, hey, hey." "Hey, hey, hey," all the pirates shouted. "Hey, hey, hey." Dipper played the trumpet. Jack and Annie drummed on the bucket. The trio sang. The floor shook. The windows rattled. And all the pirates stomped and shook, doing the heebie-jeebie dance. "Swing that music," shouted Jean Lafitte's ghost. Woo, here they are having their party. Like a mirror, I can't hardly, there you go. You can see it. Having a good time. "Yar!" the pirates all shouted. "Yar! Yar!" The front door suddenly banged open. "Go, Mama! Go, Papa! Go, go, go!" shouted the ghost of Jean Lafitte. He danced out of the shop, and his pirate crew followed, one by one. As the ghosts all danced out of the shop, Dipper kept playing, the trio kept singing, and Jack and Annie kept drumming. "My crew and I sure enjoyed your visit," the pirate ghost captain shouted back to Dipper and the others. "Be sure to come back, same time next year." The ghost of Jean Lafitte turned and waved his arms in the air again. "Come on, boys, Papa's doing the heebie-jeebies dance." Then, doing the heebie-jeebies dance, all the pirate ghosts danced away into the dark New Orleans night. Chapter 9. Working Man Blues. Dipper stopped playing. The three boys stopped singing. Jack and Annie stopped drumming. There was silence. They all crept to the open doorway and stepped outside. The rain had stopped, and the wind had died down. The air felt clean and cool. Stars shone overhead. The pirate ghosts were gone. "Whoa, that was something," said little Mac. "What just happened?" "Was it a dream?" asked Big Nose Sydney. "Were those ghosts real?" "I don't know," said Dipper, "but I'll tell you this. You'll never ever get me back in that shop again." Everyone laughed. Even Happy looked happy. "Hey, Dipper, how'd you get so good on that horn?" he asked, grinning. "I practiced for 2 years at the waif's home," said Dipper. "That's how." "You got to blow that horn while we sing," said Big Nose Sydney. "Come with us now. We really do have an important gig tonight on a riverboat." "A riverboat?" Jack and Annie said together. They looked at each other. Their research book had said that Louis Armstrong developed his musical talents performing on riverboats. "That's right," said little Mac. "Oh, wow, Dipper. You have to go with them," said Annie. "Yeah, man," said Jack. But Dipper just shook his head. "Sorry, folks, but I can't play tonight. I have to get up early in the morning to haul coal." "Aw, Dipper," said little Mac. "Aw, Dipper," said Jack. "Don't y'all worry about me," said Dipper. "Have a good time on the boat, fellas. Hang on to that smile, Happy." "I'll try," said Happy. "See you later," said Big Nose Sydney. "So long to y'all too," little Mac said to Jack and Annie. "Bye," said Jack. "Good luck on your gig," said Annie. The three boys waved and took off. Dipper looked after them for a long moment. Then he turned to Jack and Annie. "Here's your horn back," he said. "Thanks for letting me play it." He handed the trumpet to Annie. "Do you want to keep it?" she said. "No, thanks. I have my own horn back at my house. A cornet they gave me at the waif's home," said Dipper. "Someday when I'm grown, maybe I'll bring it out again." "I think you should have gone with the fellas, Dipper," said Jack, "to share your musical gifts." I know," said Dipper. "To share my musical gifts with the world." He shook his head as if he were shaking off the thought. Then he beamed with a big smile at Jack and Annie. "Hey, weren't we talking about dessert a little while back? That's a gig I can get behind and still get some sleep. Come on." As Dipper led Jack and Annie down the rain-slicked street, the wet sidewalks glistened like silver. Life had returned to the French Quarter. Horses and mules splashed through puddles. Street lamps burned brightly outside dance halls and restaurants. Waiters carried tables and chairs back outside. When Dipper, Jack, and Annie came to Jackson Square, they found kids playing music again. A band was playing a song Jack knew, "When the Saints Go Marching In." A few people in costumes were wandering about. Dipper led Jack and Annie to the back door of the River Cafe. "The cook here is a friend of mine, so don't worry about the waiters," he said with a wink. "Be back in a minute." He slipped into the cafe kitchen. As Jack and Annie waited for Dipper, they could hear the jazzy music coming from the square. "Oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in." Teddy was right. "I love New Orleans," said Annie. "Me too," said Jack. "But how are we ever going to accomplish our mission for Merlin? Dipper seems like he's never going to change his mind about making music." "I know," said Annie. "In fact, I was just thinking that we might have to do something really drastic." "What's that?" said Jack. "Show him our research book," said Annie. "Whoa," said Jack. "Do you really think?" Before Jack could finish, Dipper came back outside. Talk about something good," he said. He clutched a greasy napkin filled with freshly made donuts. "Follow me." As Jack and Annie followed Dipper to the river, Jack's mind was racing. Should they show Dipper the research book? It would prove they'd come from the future. What would Dipper say? What would he think? It's too weird, Jack thought. Let's just try talking to him first, Jack whispered to Annie. She nodded. Dipper led them to a bench near the water. Jack and Annie sat on the wet wood on either side of him. Dipper unwrapped the donuts and handed one to Jack and one to Annie, and kept one for himself. Careful, Dipper said. The sugar will get all over you. Jack lifted the warm, sticky donut to his mouth and took a big bite. Powdered sugar, flour, butter, vanilla, all melted in his mouth. It was mighty good. Nobody talked while they ate their donuts. When they were finished, they all wiped their sticky fingers on their shirts and pants. By now, Jack's clothes were soaked with rainwater, coal dust, kitchen grease, sweat, and grime. A little powdered sugar and butter won't make a bit of difference, he thought. So, Dipper, said Annie, you know, you're a really great musician, don't you? Dipper smiled at her. Actually, you're a creative genius, added Jack. Dipper laughed out loud. And y'all know who you are, don't you? Yup, the biggest potato heads you ever met, finished Jack. But this time we're right, said Annie. Nope, sorry, said Dipper. I'm definitely no genius. The truth is, I never got past elementary school. I don't even know how to read music. But don't you love to play music? Said Annie. Yeah, sure I do. Somehow I've got music in my bones, said Dipper. Sad to say, all I really ever wanted to do is blow my horn. Then why don't you? Said Jack. He felt desperate, even without their mission for Merlin. It seemed incredibly sad that Dipper had turned his back on his music. Yeah, why don't you go play on the riverboat with the fellas, said Annie. It wouldn't hurt you to miss a few hours' sleep. Dipper took a deep breath and let it out slowly. When I was 12 years old, I got too rowdy one time, he said. It was New Year's Eve. I was singing with the fellas and I got carried away and fired off a gun. Just into the air. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but I got caught and I got sentenced to 2 years in the Waif's home. I just got out a little while ago. I feel really bad for letting my family down like that. So right now, all I want to do is help them by keeping a steady job. But what about a job playing music, said Jack. Great musicians can make a lot of money and help their families. Not playing the music I want to play, said Dipper. At least I haven't met any. Have you? Yes, actually we have, said Annie. She turned and looked at Jack. We have to do it. Jack sighed, then nodded slowly and pulled out their research book. Oh. Alright, that's all I'm going to read for today. So you'll have to come back and see tomorrow, chapter 10. Thanks a million. Thanks a million. And I know some of you out there are going to read ahead because I know that's how y'all are. And that did just stop at a really good place. But it's almost time for me to have some dinner. And so I'm going to have to go and I will read chapter 10 and chapter 11 and we'll finish this book tomorrow. And then we'll start book number 43, Leprechaun in Late Winter. Because remember, this is fall and now we're going to winter next. So if you don't have book 43, try to find it. Try to go to Half Price Books or maybe to the library and get this book to be ready. Because we're going to finish this book tomorrow. And you, my friends, will have just read an entire book on your first week of summer. How many of y'all can ever say you've done that before? That's awesome. I'm so proud of y'all and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.